Welcome back, guys. Last week's video was all about the Grundig Auto TPMS. Today we're unboxing another system we'll be comparing it with, the TST TPMS system here. We're setting up for a head-to-head shootout in the next video, so we're using these two videos to familiarize you with the two systems that we'll be comparing. Because if you've ever had a camper tire blowout on the interstate, you know it can turn a great road trip into an absolute nightmare in mere seconds. It tears up your rig, it risks your family's safety, and it can leave you stranded on a dangerous shoulder. And that is exactly why a reliable tire pressure monitoring system, it isn't an optional accessory, it's a life-saving necessity. So today we're unboxing this TST 507 TPMS system, and yes, we specifically got this version packed with the heavy-duty flow-through sensors. So in this video, we're going to unbox this system, talk about it and its features, and in a future video, we'll be doing a shootout between this brand and another TPMS brand, just to see how they perform against each other. So let's crack this thing open and see exactly what you get for your hard-earned money. Right on top, we have our quick installation instructions and a handy QR code to grab the full digital manual. Next is the core of the system, the display monitor. This sits on your dash and it gives you real-time pressure and temperature readings. We also have our power cords, a windshield suction cup mount, a rubber anti-skid dash pad, and our installation hardware kit, complete with theft deterrent locking nuts and specialized wrenches. But here's something interesting, flow-through sensors. Now, why did I choose the flow-through style over the standard cap sensors? Well, honestly, it's all about pure convenience. With these brass flow-through units, you screw them onto your valve stems once, lock them down, and you're completely done. When your tires get a little low, say on a chilly morning and you need to add air, you don't have to remove the sensors. You just pop your air chuck right onto the exposed outer end of the sensor here and you fill it up. It saves your knuckles maybe a little bit, saves your time, and keeps your hands clean. But before we do anything else, there's a massive warning hidden right on page 2 of the full TST manual that you can't afford to ignore. It explicitly states that flow-through sensors require rigid metal valve stems. Don't gloss over this, because if your camper currently has flexible rubber valve stems, you can't safely spin these on, because these flow-through units, they're heavier than normal plastic caps, and the centrifugal force alone, when spinning down the highway at 65 miles an hour, they can cause a rubber stem to bend, flex, and eventually crack or shear clean off. So make sure your wheels are upgraded to solid metal stems before installing these. Let's take a look at the features. To turn the power on, the switch is on the right side right here. By default, the unit measures tire pressure in PSI and temperature in Fahrenheit. If you want to change from PSI to bar, press and hold the set button right here. Hold it till it beeps. Then press the plus button 3 times. Now let's talk about setting your custom safety thresholds. The TST 507, it lets you set distinct parameters for every single axle, but there is a hidden menu rule on pages 5 and 6 that will frustrate you if you don't know it's there. Right out of the box, the factory defaults come programmed with the low alarm at 100 PSI and the high pressure alarm at 175 PSI. So if you're running a camper where your recommended cold tire pressure is below 100 PSI, say 65 or 80, the monitor will physically prevent you from adjusting your high pressure limits right away. The high pressure alarm mathematically cannot go below the default low floor of 100 PSI until you lower the low pressure number first. So here's your quick sequencing hack. Always adjust your low pressure alarm first. Hold the set button until it beeps. Then press your plus button once, and that'll bring up the low pressure set. Press your set button again to choose it, then hit go and choose your axle. Use the minus button to drop down to that low pressure floor, down to roughly 10% below your tire's normal cold operating pressure. Hit set to lock it in. Now that the floor is lowered, you can smoothly navigate over to your high pressure settings. Select that same axle and drop that 175 PSI default down to your custom 25% safety ceiling. For the high temperature alarm, it defaults to a rock solid 158 degrees Fahrenheit. TST recommends keeping it right there to catch a binding brake or a failing wheel bearing early. With the parameters set, you compare your sensors using the automatic code learning method. Here's a pro tip straight from page 8. Keep the sensors that you aren't currently coding 2 to 3 feet away from the monitor, or the wireless signals will crosstalk and pair the wrong wheel. And also work quickly because the menu will automatically time out after 60 seconds of inactivity. Again, hold your set button until it beeps. That's the way into the whole program. Hit the plus button 5 times until Learn ID appears. Press the set, and then the first tire position will start blinking. Use the plus to navigate to the exact tire you want, then press set. The screen will flash the FFF, meaning it is listening. Now take your flow-through sensor and touch it directly against the bottom left edge of the display housing. Once the monitor catches the wireless signal, the IDLF will flash, followed by a unique 6-digit sensor code. Press set to lock that code into memory, hit the plus to move to the next tire, and just repeat the process. Once every tire is programmed, press the back button twice to return to the main home screen. Now don't panic, the monitor may start buzzing and throwing a low pressure alarm because you've got them sitting out there on the table and they're not connected to any air pressure. So they'll just be reading 0 PSI. So just tap the plus button to silence the alarm until you finish up. If you ever accidentally pair a sensor to the wrong wheel position, you can wipe it easily. Just go back into Learn ID, find that blinking tire position, and hold down the set button for 3 seconds. You'll hear 3 quick beeps and it resets to a blank FFF. And if you want a totally fresh start, you can wipe the whole system. Just go into your tire menu, press and hold the back button until the screen reads delete all, then tap set once to completely flush the whole memory. Now let's get the display ready for the truck cab. You can either use the included windshield suction cup mount or the stable dash cradle. If you use this cradle, make sure that the mounting legs aren't blocking this tiny light sensor hole on the back of the display housing. That sensor, that's what tells the widescreen display to automatically dim itself when you drive into the dark or through a tunnel. Before your first road trip, plug the display into a 12-volt power port. The manual explicitly states to let the internal lithium battery charge for a full 4 hours before its very first use. Once the thing is fully juiced up, the built-in motion sensor takes over. When your rig stops moving, the display automatically goes to sleep to save power, and it wakes itself right back up the second you start rolling again. All right, let's get these pressure sensors installed. First, spin one of these anti-theft hex nuts onto your metal valve stem threads until it bottoms out. Next, grab the correctly labeled sensor for this specific tire position and spin it clockwise onto your valve stem. You'll hear a quick hiss of air as it engages, and then it'll stop. Once it bottoms out, give it just an additional quarter turn with your fingers to seat it. The manual highlights, do not over-tighten. To activate the anti-theft lock, give it a little bit of a tighten with that little tool they gave you. That's a jam nut. It keeps people from being able to just take the sensors off. Here's a pretty neat feature. On page 18, it's called the electronic tire rotations. Eventually, you're going to need to rotate the tires on your truck or your trailer. Normally, that means you have to physically unlock and swap every single sensor around to match the new tire positions. With the TST software, you don't touch a single wrench outside. Just hold down set until it beeps, tap the plus button 7 times until you see the tire sync arrows and the word tire pop up. Then hit set. Now you can select the original tire position and electronically swap that sensor's unique ID code directly to its brand new spot on your rig. Hit the back button twice to save it, and your display layout is completely updated. So what happens when you drop your trailer at a campground and drive away in your truck? Well, normally your monitor will start alarm buzzing because it lost the wireless signal. To bypass this, use the base camp mode shortcut. All you do is you press the go and the minus buttons at the same time. Boom! Trailer section completely vanishes from your screen, and the monitor stops looking for those sensors. When you hook back up to leave, just hit go and minus together again, and it brings it right back online. To ensure you never drop a signal while towing down the interstate, you've got to always install the included TST signal repeater. Failing to install this can actually void your warranty coverage. So mount it directly to the frame of the front of your trailer tongue or on the side of your plastic battery box. Wire the positive red and the negative black leads directly to a constant 12-volt power source, like your battery cutoff switch. Look for the tiny red LED light on the front. If it is glowing solid or blinking, it confirms the booster has power and is blasting your tire data directly past the metal frame of your truck and straight to your dash. Once your sensors are on, they read your tire data every 12 seconds. If a tire crosses a safety limit, it triggers a fast leak, low pressure, or a high temperature alarm instantly. the monitor will ring out with a loud audible buzz and flash a bright red warning LED. If you hear that alarm kick on while you're pulling your rig down the interstate, don't ignore it. Safely pull over to a secure location as soon as possible. Get out and visually inspect the problem wheel, because catching a dragging brake or a fast leak early, it could be the difference between a simple roadside stop and an incredibly expensive trip to the repair shop. So if you have any questions about the menu programming, drop a comment below. And while you're down there, don't forget about our ongoing TPMS system giveaway. Be sure to check out last Sunday's video for the full rules and make sure you enter by August 29th. Now, subscribing isn't required to win, but it's highly beneficial so you don't miss the winner announcement video. Hit that subscribe button for more RV gear tutorials and stay safe out there. I'll see you next week.